Is Airbnb a complete bust in 2024, or is it still a great investment? Let's talk about it. All right, so it's cold right now, Florida cold. But before we get into the content, let us know in the comments where you're watching from and what's the weather like by you right now. All right, so getting into it, I have a client from Connecticut who's looking to buy a property here in Fort Lauderdale, a second home for him and his family, something that he can just pop by whenever he wants to and then rent out for the rest of the year. And this is a very common occurrence down here in Florida. But this particular client has no plans to relocate here or move here anytime in the near future. And so in order to make this work, he wanted income from the home to cover his mortgage, or at least cover a majority of his mortgage, maybe 50 to 75%. Otherwise, it just wouldn't have made sense for him to buy right now. So he thought Airbnb, and why not? It became one of the most popular investments back in 2020. And with everyone flocking down to Florida, being able to work remotely, I mean, why wouldn't you invest in one if you can? You own a house, build equity, make passive income, decide when you want to use it. It was the perfect scenario. But then something happened. Everybody got the same idea at the same exact time, and it made it very competitive for a lot of new investors coming into the market. Now, I do still believe that in specific situations, Airbnb can still be a great investment, but for a lot of people, it just doesn't make sense anymore. And so here are some things to consider when buying an Airbnb property in Fort Lauderdale or anywhere in South Florida. And the first thing you really want to consider is just the overall cost of buying a home right now. Keep in mind that when Airbnb really took off back in 2020, late 2020, interest rates were below 3%. And what is now a $1 million home, back then was a $500,000 to $600,000 home. So just looking at a simple mortgage calculator, if we take the numbers, let's use $600,000 to be conservative. With 20% down, your payment would have been roughly around $2,000 a month. That's not including PMI or taxes or insurance, because that stuff's gonna vary. So this is just principal and interest. You were looking around $2,000 a month. Now that same home in 2024, which is probably around $1 million or 1.2 million, we'll say $1 million again, just to be conservative, with an interest rate of 6.75%, 20% down, you're now looking at a monthly payment of roughly $5,200 a month. So more than double for the same home and a much bigger monthly payment to cover. And you might think, well, I don't need $1 million home, I'll just buy a $500,000 home. Which brings me to my second point, but before we get into that, I do just want to remind you that we are a team of realtors here in South Florida. And as much as we love making these videos, we'd love more to earn your real estate business. So if you get value from these videos, we'd love the opportunity to hear from you. Feel free to reach out to us at any time. But okay, moving on to the second point, competition. How are you gonna stand out? And according to AirDNA, there is over 8,000 available listings just in the Fort Lauderdale market alone. That's not including the Pompano Beach market, which has over 3,000, and the Hollywood market, which has over 6,000. So we're talking a combined total of 17,000 plus available listings, short-term vacation rental listings, just in this Fort Lauderdale metro area. So again, how will you stand out? Now, I'm not saying it's impossible, because the fact is that it's not impossible. In fact, I'm not even sure if all 17,000 of those listings are actually active at all times. But even if they aren't, and we cut that number in half, that's still a big number, and it's still a lot of competition. And something that you just have to remember is that these people who are renting these vacation rentals or these Airbnb short-term rentals, this is usually an experience for them. You know, they're either on vacation or they just have a short time to spend here. They want to be blown away by where they're staying. They basically want something that has that wow factor, whether it's the location, which is usually the #1 factor, or the home itself, or both. You can have the most beautiful home that really screams vacation, but if you're not in a good location, you're not going to get the bookings that you want or that you need. So going back to that first point, that it takes a lot more to buy a home these days than it did 2 or 3 years ago, A $500,000 home will probably not get you very far in 2024 when it comes to Airbnb. It's just the reality. So again, is it impossible to succeed with an Airbnb in today's market? Absolutely not. Just understand that it may take more than you think, and you just need to be strategic about it. Which brings me to a question that I want you to ask yourself. Why are you doing this? Are you buying a property solely as an investment to make money? Or are you buying a home that you love, that you can enjoy at your own free will, still have the option to rent it out short term, but income is not necessarily the most important factor? Depending on where you find yourself in the market, these are two very different scenarios, or they can be two very different scenarios. One option that we've been recommending to a lot of our clients lately is not to do daily rentals, but short term, 3, 6, 9 months. You still have the flexibility to use it when you want, and you can still make some money off of it. Now, obviously, it's not gonna give you the same flexibility as doing daily rentals, but you still have the option to choose what part of the year you would like to use your home. And then, like I said, you rent it out for 3 months at a time, 6 months at a time. And that's always a good option that we've been recommending out a lot lately to a lot of our clients that want to do Airbnb or just get in the short-term rental game. But again, just ask yourself that question first. What's more important to you? Just like I told my client in Connecticut, he's buying a home for his family first, a second home. Income is second. It worked out for him, and if you find yourself in the same situation, we can help make it work out for you too. So if you got value from this video, we'd love the opportunity to hear from you and help you in any way that we can. Or you can go straight to the link in my description and book a discovery call with me directly, and I'm happy to chat that way as well. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll catch you on the next one.